My brothers and sisters in Christ, first of all, I'm back for just one weekend. Actually, during the Labor Day weekend, while we were watching the Blue Angels fly, because we're in the cathedral, the bishop turned to me and said, "I'm sending you here." I went, "Oh, really?" And I've been assigned to be the administrator of St. Mark Parish. And St. Mark, a pastor of 12 years, decided that really he had burnout and he needed to get away. And so in his discernment, he's been gone for approximately 3 weeks, he's decided that he's not going to return as pastor to St. Mark. For those that do not know, St. Mark is in the northwest corner of the city of Cleveland, and it's off Rocky River Drive. As you're driving 90 out of the city, it's right off McKinley Boulevard. So it's a beautiful parish. It has a very large school, over 400, and really a beautiful facility. And I've been privileged to be with them, and I look at it as a privilege because this is certainly a very, very hard time. He left very suddenly, and there were many questions about what's going to happen. And the first Sunday I was there, I had to announce to everyone about him leaving. And last Sunday, I had to announce he's not coming back. I think they were relieved to find that I wasn't there this weekend. And Father Schneider and I had agreed that during his well-deserved vacation, I would cover the Masses over this weekend. And that was sort of one of those non-negotiable things. If I'm going to be the administrator at St. Mark, then I have to have this weekend where I can come back to St. Ladislas. Hopefully this will not last too long, and I should be coming back on a regular basis here at St. Lad's, hopefully somewhere between Thanksgiving and Christmas. I hope to have Christmas here. I ask that you remember them in prayer. This is a hard time for everyone. And there's a lot of questions as well as a lot of just frustration and anger about the situation. Also, one of my classmates called me and he said, "I had a dream about you last night." And I said, "Oh, well, that was complimentary." He said, "No, it wasn't." And he said, the secretary came back to my office and said, "There's a priest out here. He says his name is Father Manning, and he has an appointment letter." And he goes, "Oh no, I'm going either to the nursing home or I'm being removed." And such is the case. I think right now, because of the diocesan situation where we have only one priest in many parishes like St. Lad's, that indeed priests from other neighborhoods have to take over, or in my case, anything in the city of Cleveland, I can sort of cover. And if you're wondering, I've learned the valuable lesson that everyone in business and in corporations knows already, and that is when your boss says, "I want you to take this on," you're hearing, "Oh, instead of my other jobs." They're saying, "In addition to," and such is the case. Today, as we think and reflect on the scriptures, the idea is really countercultural. For if we think about it in our day, where we're nurtured with "be all that you can be, just do it," and the like, that there's the great emphasis upon the individual and upon being all that one can be, all the possibilities to fulfill. The ancient world was similar. The ancient world put great stress in the idea of, as they would say, fame. And that is that everyone deserved to be famous, and your name would be carried from one generation to another as someone who had achieved great fame. And that was the goal of society. And it is for a very, very good reason that the sneakers done by Nike is really the Greek word for victory. And indeed, the swoosh is sort of that idea of just do it. And the Greeks would very, very much appreciate that. And Jesus is saying, that's okay, but there's even more to it than that. For those are all very, very much simply illusionary. And those are not worthy of people of the faith. For indeed, we have different things to achieve our fame. And Jesus then is going to embrace a child who in ancient law, and especially Jewish law, had absolutely no right. And no rights or no legal standing. And he said, this child is important. And so for us, as we think and reflect on the gospel today, it first of all reminds us that in very real way, we don't need to have the illusion of fame and fortune and all the rest, but rather we have the grace of God within us. And secondly, that we are really called to look out and not to see the world between the have and the have-nots, between those who are famous and those who are not, but rather to look and to see God's creation, especially in humanity, and to be cherishing of them. During this next week, we'll be celebrating great saints each of the days, and one of those was Francis. And Francis, as he looked out, he saw the world not in those terms, but rather as brother and sister. The poorest and the most neglected was just as precious as a king and queen of his time.